Hello, everybody. This is Jason Tonioli. I am here with Amazing Vacations, and I have some awesome friends with us today to chat. I've got Arnaldo and Walter from the Amazing Vacations Costa Rica team that are here. And then we also have Joaquin, who is one of he's one of kind of the pioneers of kayaking down in Costa Rica. Joaquin Garcia. Benavides is como se dice, right? Joaquin, is that how you say
Correct.
it? Benavides. But Walter and Arnaldo call this guy the gentleman of the river, which is awesome. But I've been kayaking for a long time, and it seems like in each location there's pioneers or people who've kind of opened up the sport to the areas, and Joaquin is one of those for Costa Rica that really can probably tell us some really cool stories. So we were just chatting a little bit earlier, and we are gonna try and do a little bit of Spanglish, we'll call it, English and Spanish. So anyway, I think it's gonna be fun. We're gonna find out some really fun stories, but we'll kind of go from there. So Walter, maybe I'll start with you. Maybe do a quick introduction of Joaquin that's much better than what I just did, and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, Joaquin, before you start, I can say that we've been following you since since I'm a kid. Many years, even when I was a kid, I remember coming down to Angostura, which is by Turrialba. It was the famous takeout of the Reventason River, and I remember looking at all those strong gentlemen, young gentlemen carrying rafts and up and down. And I remember Joaquin was there. Miti. That's how we.
Mhm.
Yeah, been following, and then later, actually, few years ago, we started parlaying. I remember we see each other more often in Sarapiquí, in Turrialba, and yeah, it's been an amazing time. Getting to know him better because right now we paddle together better, so it's pretty cool. Um, I would say that maybe Arnaldo, you're next before we give him the word. Huh? What do you think, Arnaldo?
Well, hi everyone. I think I know Joaquin for a long time since I was a kid. That I remember when their sons were pretty much my age, and they came to the kayak school where I started, and see them, with a higher kayak skills, paddling out there, and really inspire me to get better at kayaking. And Joaquin is one of those that always bring the good vibe around and trying to bring more people into the sport. And I think that's such a great thing, to have someone like that around us all the time.
What and what Joaquin? I'm just and if I need to translate it, let me know. But I'm curious. I know for me, when I came down to Costa Rica for the first time, I was just so impressed with the stories that these younger guys would tell us, and they'd talk about the Reventason River and how Turrialba had kind of been 20 or 30 years ago. I don't even know how long ago it was, but what was it like in Turrialba in the beginning days when people started kayaking? Tell us about the Reventacion.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Welcome, everyone, to this to share this time of talk of kayaking and river running. Thanks for your invitation to me, and I'm very happy to be here and share all the knowledge about the river that I have. And let's start with this part, which is like they mentioned before already, the Reventason River at Angostura. That was the place where start with a lot of kayakers and develop the sport, and a lot of the development sport begins here. I can tell you on the early 88, I saw a group of kayakers training a slalom from all over the world. Teams from Europe, like Spain, Italy, Frenches, Canadians, US, training at Angostura, setting up gates for slalom. And they come every 2 years right before the they come on the winter. For us, it's summer, but it's about January or December. Because every 2 years, and those years, and back in that time, every 2 years they have the World Cup, and they have to train out of the. They have to go on the tropics to get some water to paddle. That's why they come to Turrialba. All these teams come to Turrialba in those years, and then that make a big difference. They make something special because in that time was not common to see kayakers, and they rent houses for 1 month, and teams from different places like Germany too, and then they hire. They bring a little bit of winning for the community, and then the community start getting income from people staying in the town, and then they make a big team, a big interesting team, because all these teams training, and then we start seeing this, like me, seeing the training time, and then after a while, I decide to learn, because it was really interesting for me, paddling on the river. And Turrialba was like this in this time, you know.
And who? I guess I'm curious, from the Pequare River, who was the first person to go down that you know of in a kayak down the Pequare? When did that happen?
Well, when the first part of the Pequare, I paddled in a raft, because there was some people that came down with some raft. They want to paddle the Pequare, and they need somebody to go with them, and I came as a paddler in one of these rafts. They call, but this is not the first kayaker, because I hear some people from Europe, they paddled the Pequare and kayaks before.
Got
We
it.
just did it and these people from East Coast, the rivermen, they call it rivermen, and they came down to do the river, and then invite me to go with them, and that was the first time for me on the Pequare River. It was really nice.
What kind of boats were you guys paddling at the time?
Oh, very.
Oh, looks like we might have lost him. Joaquin, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, now you're back.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can now. What kind of boat was it that you were paddling back then?
Was a raft, then we have to bail the water out with the bucket.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the first, and that was the first raft that I met, and then I started kayaking right after that, because I love the river, and then such a nice thing to do, and I love the rivers since that day.
When the first kayakers came down on the Pequare, what type, or qué tipo de kayak, what type of kayak were they paddling back then?
Well, actually, okay. Hello.
We can hear you, Walter.
Yes. Walter.
Miti, pregunta. Actually,
Uh-huh.
Reventazón was the first like boom, right? It was not aquatic. ¿Cuál fue el
Exactly.
kayak? The famous one at that time. ¿Cuál fue su primer kayak, de hecho?
Oh, Dancer.
Dancer.
Dancer was the best. To have a Dancer, man, was amazing. Was something of the best that we could have. A Dancer. You know, there were boats like Crossfire. There were Respawns, Invaders. There was a kayak called T Canyon, T Slalom. Those boats are Prion, and but the Dancer was the one to want.
Got it.
Miti,
Yeah.
pregunta.
Uh-huh.
Who helped you to learn how to go?
Okay. Let me take the word for this. Okay. I tried the first. There was a group of kayakers practicing in the slalom course in the Reventa zone, underneath of the bridge. And then one of the paddlers from Canada, this guy called Jim Orava, let me use one of his kayaks. And I start paddling over there and underneath of the bridge. For the first time, the first day that I took a kayak was under the bridge. Right there, under the bridge of the Reventa zone. The first day, and the second day, and the third day over there. And I learned enough to go higher up and run the first rapid. And then I joined a couple of guys, the two from Costa Rica, besides Jim Orava from Canada, Alejo Pacheco from Costa Rica, and a girl from Costa Rica called Patricia Ostenbach. They spot me on the side of the river to guard me, you know. And then, but I'm missing one special history on this part. Before these three guys, I have a friend from Turrialba, and the very first day, the guy Mariano Salazar, Sabanera, un amigo, he was there with a rope underneath of the bridge on the side. And it wasn't a kayak, a long one. I don't remember the name of the brand of the quality of kayak. It was about 11 feet, maybe 12 feet kayak, a long one. I don't remember what brand. And that was the first day in a kayak for me. And Mariano was with the we call it rescue rope, the throw rope. And he threw to me a couple of times. And I have a helmet. With a full face. That was a motorcycle one.
Motorcycle helmet.
Man, so heavy. And it was the first day of my life in the kayak. And it was the first day of the practices with Mariano. And the second day, I have Malejo and Patricia. And they let me have another helmet. And they let me have another kayak. But the first day was with Mariano with the rope.
So did the motorcycle helmet have the visor down so you could fill up with water too, or?
No, not have visor, but have full face with the protection on the chin. It was big, full face, but with the mask.
He's gonna get you a snorkel.
Yeah, it was so heavy, and then I have a hard time swimming out. I swim over there like 3 times. Then I remember until I get tired of taking the helmet full of water out.
So when you first did that, did you have a life jacket you were wearing as well, or no life jacket?
I use a life jacket. Yes, I bought a life jacket and helmet and everything. Yes.
Got it. What year was it that you started? ¿Qué año?
1989.
89. Okay.
89 was the first time on the bridge.
So it was 31 years ago then. Wow.
Yes, 30 years.
30 years.
¿Cuántos años entonces, no?
¿Cuántos años tenía ese día?
Cuando comenzaste.
24 or 20. 23 years old or 24 or I don't remember.
So you have you're 55 years old now then?
Yes.
Awesome. What was it like? I'm just curious. Before they built when they built the dam, what was the feeling with the boaters, or kind of share a little bit about what happened with the history when they built the dam on the Reventación and ruined the river there?
Okay. And then Turrialba was very happy to hold people in the town because they bring income to the families. On the early 90s, 91, 92, for every company, there were at least 3 different outfitters that hire guys from the States, from all over the world. And then out of 10 guys on the river, 7 were foreigners, only 3 locals. And then I started working with only 3 months of paddling on a kayak. I gotta tell you this history of the first, how I got the job, and then why they hired me with only 3 months of kayaking. Yeah, but let me finish up with the point of Turrialba. And then having all these people from all over was very nice for Turrialba because the income. And then we have people from Italy, from France, from States, working as a guy in every season. And it was very nice until more Costa Ricans learned to be a guy, and then it changed. And now we have a few foreigners working, and then before was more foreigners working. And then let me tell you, in 89, 90, I met a guy called Alejo Pacheco, and then he taught me a lot of kayaking. He taught me a lot of kayaking, and then following him, he was taking photos in a kayak to company, Rio Tropicales. He was taking photos for this company, and after 3 months of myself kayaking, he invited me to run the section from the takeout, which is from the bridge of Turrialba, down all the way to Siquirres, which is about 40, 50 kilometers of on the lower Roreta zone. And then they're supposed to go, the 2 guys, the owner of Rio Tropicales, Rafael Gallo, and Alejo Pacheco. These 2 guys planning to run the Peralta section. And then one guy with a raft, which was Mariano, was after Peralta with the raft waiting because these 2 guys are supposed to be the safety kayakers for this raft trip beginning in the section called Pascua at the lower Roreta zone to run this part with the safety. He was waiting for these 2 kayakers. But I joined these 2 kayakers, and I run the whole section with these 2 kayakers. And I run the whole thing from Turrialba to Siquirres. And I just have only 3 months of paddling. And I was using Mariano's kayak. He has a kayak. He don't know how to kayak, but he owns a kayak. He owns a kayak dancer. And he let me use the dancer. And then he always remembered that day because he said when he saw his kayak, and I was using his kayak, arriving to that point, halfway in the lower zone, he was very surprised. He has to see the 2 safety kayakers, but they came with me too. And it was amazing surprise for him, and it was really good for me because I ran the whole section with few rolls, actually 1 or 2 rolls, and then at the end they said that I can work with them because I can handle it out really well. And they said, you handle out this way, that way, and then you can be able to work. And it was really interesting because, in Costa Rica, to work in the tourism, to work in the river, it's amazing. And then I was so happy, and I hooked up the job that day.
So back in the early 90s before the dam, was there was more tourism or more river running companies then before the dam than once they built the dam?
Fue la señal. Ahí se fue la señal. Se cortó.
Can you hear us?
Oh,
Ahí estamos.
now I can hear you. Aquí ya los oigo.
I'm just curious for what was it like, and maybe Walter, maybe ask this a different way. What was it like before the dam was built, and did you see that the tourism suffered in Turrialba once they did build the dam?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Back in night, he was there for sure. And I know the history because I was a kid at that time. Angostura, which was the takeout of the Tucurique section. Angostura at this point was like the central point of the whitewater, you know, and someone can correct me, I'm wrong, but central point of the whitewater of Costa Rica. Because it was the takeout of the nice class 3+, you know, good whitewater, and then the beginning of the class 5, which is Peralta and what Miti is talking about. I mean, that's a serious whitewater. So there's many people coming down to paddle a couple days, 3-4 days to do whitewater, you know. And I remember I was talking with Miti this morning, yesterday, and talking about that. I remember famous people coming to do whitewater, and then the whitewater camel challenge was held also a couple times in this river. Miti, did you paddle for those competitions? So you were part of the safety team?
In the 98, no, I didn't paddle the competition. I remember that was a big thing on the Lower Reventa Zone with the camel event. But he said he wants to know the impact. Yes, the big impact on the tourism on Turrialba. Angostura was like the epicenter of the rafting in Costa Rica because the commercial section, we call it Tucurique, from Tucurique to this point in Angostura, all the companies, many companies at that time, in between, let's say, 92, 94, 96, 98, there were many different outfitters working. And then you see a lot of buses and different companies on takeout, have their base in there with the raft. And then it was a big movement of tourism in Angostura, that place. And then all this was damaged by the dam. When the dam started working, we have a big impact in Turrialba, losing a lot of tourism, losing a lot of rafters. And then all changed at that time. And I don't remember when they started, but I think it's around the 2000 or something like that, and or then 98 or something like that. But before that, it was a big industry. A lot of families working in there, selling t-shirts, selling sandals. You know, a lot of guys. It was big thing, big rafting center with many outfitters on Angostura.
So it was in some ways it was probably similar to Fortuna, Arenal area now, you know, in Quepos with what's happened there. But once they dammed the river, it ruined the tourism. Correct.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I could say that maybe when it spreads, you know, like people real bad guides start moving, because I know, for example, I know like our friend Johnny. He's a hi Johnny. It was an old guy from this area, from Turrialba, and then he moved to La Portela, and he has his company right there. So, we spread all around Quepos and La Fortuna, and then there are different operations, and most of them are all guides from Turrialba or used to work here.
Well, it would be very interesting if there was a financial impact study done on what would happen in 20 years if they got rid of the dam, and it could open up, the rivers could heal and come back, and to see what would happen for Turrialba, because I think Turrialba and just that area in general is it's a unique place in the world that it hasn't been built out from tourism, but I think it would be very interesting to build it out in the proper way if they could get rid of the dam. And my guess is they'd probably have more money generated for the town and the people than the dam will ever do. So
That would be awesome. If we can have that section running again. That'll be awesome. Let's see. Hopefully. Um,
So Joaquin, I have a question. So, what in all of your paddling experience, what is kind of your what's your funniest paddling experience over the years? So, lo más chistoso. What's the funniest story on the river that you could share?
Oh yes, I have one.
Okay.
I was in those years. I repeat to you, we have guides from all over. I was leading a trip of kayakers from Oregon that used to come every year with two different groups, with two schedules to Costa Rica. They come from Oregon. Alder Creek River Supplies was the store. And then we were working, myself and another guy called Peter Spears from New Zealand, as the leaders of this trip. And then we were taking this trip for 10 days of kayaking in Costa Rica with groups that have people from from different levels, advanced paddlers, beginner or intermediate paddlers, and a few expert paddlers. And then it came on a storm. It was a storm of rain all over the country, except in one place, in Orosi, the upper part of the Reventazon River. Wasn't raining much in that area. And then we didn't know how was the river. We didn't run the river before. And then we decided to go there with the group, with the mixed paddlers of advanced, intermediate, and experts. And then we remember that a part of the river was mellow and flat at the beginning, up in the gorge, up in the upper part of the Orosi Valley, on one of the main tributaries of the Reventazon. They call it Rio Grande de Orosi. And then we start paddling with the whole group, about 20 paddlers, and not much water, very low, flat. And then the other guy, Peter, was not very sure about, because I convinced him to go there. But there was a point that we found big rapids, big boulders, and the water disappeared, filtering in between. And then it's where the funny part begins. We didn't expect to have that big rapids over there, class 5 rapids. And then actually that day we used the description of the rapids, and it's still alive as the name of the rapid.
Still alive.
When because I was ahead with Peter Spears, we call him Pee-wee, and I stepped up in a rock to look ahead, what is ahead, and Pee-wee from his kayak asked me, what do you look? What it looks like? What is ahead? Can we go? And I said, no. It looks like the bounce of the dinosaur. You say dinosaurs?
Dinosaur.
It looks like a dinosaur bounce lying down on the middle of the way. and then he got popped out of the kayak and jumped on the rock and saw that. Oh man! And then he said, "No, this looks like a cemetery of dinosaurs." And then we all walk around, and then the people walk. Half of the group start walking on the rapids, and then only the experts stays in the water. And we run a couple of rapids, that's 5, and then we walk a lot of them too. And we found bigger rapids ahead, and then still getting more people out of the river. Out of 20 people, we end up with 5 in the water. The rest have to walk. And then after the trip, we run the rivers all together back in the river, like 1 or 2 miles later. But they have to walk 1 or 2 miles. And then they said, good decisions. do our leaders are amazing. They decided to go to the middle river to have fun in the middle of the storm. And then was one of these funny days that was complicated.
Now we know where the dinosaurus name comes from. Huh? That's the name of the section up to Orosi.
That's the name of the section.
That's why I say they're still alive. The history that we built up that day about the rapids, still alive. They call it dinos.
Dinos.
Sí, claro. Miti, ahí está conectado Walter y Junior y por ahí Oscar de Zarapequí. Dice Walter, Walter drove me Pacuare lines on a piece of paper first time you took me there. La primera vez lo llevaste a Walter, le dibujaste el río un papel para que fuera a guiar.
Ah, sí.
So he said that he drew it out on a piece of paper or like a bar napkin for the lines then?
Yeah. The guy, Oscar, wants to go on the Pacuare River and ask me how the rapids are, and then I make a design on the paper, like I drew. Where are the rocks, where are the holes? And then we did a Pacuare 2-day trip and raft. And then the raft is more difficult. He's a good kayaker. The man that is asking or commenting, Oscar is a good kayaker, but he was in a raft that day. And then he asked me, what is ahead? And then I make a design and I make a drew on the paper. And it was very funny because we didn't stop to scout.
Here's a question for you. What advice, so there's a lot of kind of up-and-coming kayakers or intermediate kayakers. What advice do you have for people that are trying to improve and get better? I'm seeing some of the comments. People are saying you're the best professor. So you've taught a lot of people. What advice do you have for people that are wanting to learn?
Wow, that's a very good question. Because I always said is build up the confidence in yourself is more difficult than lose it. And then you gotta be very careful and avoid the mistakes. You don't want to go swimming. You don't want to have trouble because you can lose all the confidence that you already built up. And then that's my main point of concerning about running any river is be careful. Don't gonna lose your confidence making a bad decision. And then needs to take good decisions. Think what you're gonna do and do it with confidence.
Yeah, I would love to add something. I don't know if you guys can hear
me. We can hear you, yeah.
But Miti, Joaquin, he taught Nuria Newman how to row. And Nuria Newman is the top 3 females in the world right now as a kayaker. So it's something pretty cool that probably Miti feels, like being here, how much she progressed from kayaking, and probably start her role down here in Costa Rica with Miti and was the first one to taught her how to row. So maybe Miti can tell us something more about it. That would be pretty cool to hear.
Yes. Well, I remember Arnaldo since he was 4 or 5 years old. I remember him. And I remember that at that time, I was teaching my sons and are about his age, more or less. I got three boys and have similar age. And then teaching young kids, I learned something. I learned different techniques than the people like it. And then that was the attraction of Nuria Newman, father and mother, to come with her to me. Rob Newman, her father, I remember, and Pascal, her mother, came to Costa Rica, and then they were looking for me because I have they have the information. I was a person and have the knowledge about teaching young kids of kayaking. And then I took her in classes of kayaking, and she started doing the roll that day. And then they were so happy because knew I learned the kayak roll with me. And then one of the things was that I always said the kids don't need to be pushed on the way to do the learning. The kids have to go play with the kayaks and enjoy the time with the kayak. For example, I remember one kid and I seated up in a kayak and a swimming pool, but the kid don't want to be sitting in the inside the kayak. The kid wants to have the kayak upside down, and he wants to lie down and up and then do it as a ball with the hands. And then I learned that, and kids have to play before they want to learn. Let them play and play and play. When they said, I am ready to do the role, and then we teach the role. And that's a good time that I have with the kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that I have, well, how was, I don't know if you guys knew, but Joaquin was in the first Costa Rican selection or team that went to the Olympic Games.
Really?
If I'm not wrong, in '92 in Spain, correct? Barcelona '92 Olympic Games.
Yeah.
That one for you too.
Well, tell us about the Olympics. What was that like, Joaquin?
Oh man, it was amazing. We have three men kayakers, and one lady representing Costa Rica in that event. Actually, this Olympic game was the first time, and the slalom kayak was presented.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was because it was the first year, they call it demonstration. But anyway, it was a competition, and we enjoyed a lot. The other two kayakers, the other two main kayakers, they always beat me on the training time and the courses, and I never make better time, even in the practices, than we did in the river. But when we got in the competition, I win this too, and then I was very happy with that. Yes.
So what do you think?
Miti,
Oh, go ahead.
era Ferdinand. ¿Quién más estaba ahí? Ferdinand.
Gabriel Álvarez.
Ay, Garel, sí, cierto.
Gabriel Álvarez. Mm-hmm. Y Ferdinand Steinborn.
Y también, pero la chica era, ¿cómo se llama? Olvidó el nombre.
La chica se llama Hilda Montenegro.
Cierto.
Hilda Montenegro. Sí. It was really nice. I remember Garel. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the Olympics, we have a nice history. Then we went under the tunnel, and then before we get on the stadium for the beginning ceremony, the team, they call it the start team of basketball with Magic Johnson, Pippen, and all these guys. Jordan, they were there, and then Garel. We have cameras with rolls, with the film, and then we have this kind of cameras, and Garel gives the camera to Hilda, and approach the team to have a picture with these giant people. They were giants, big people.
So that was the original dream team then back in Barcelona. I think that was when. Yeah. Wow.
We went there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Walter, any other questions you got that you think would be interesting to share with the people would find interesting, or Arnaldo?
No, actually, I have just to check who's connected. Junior Machado, he followed you. Priscila Vega, Miti. Priscila Vega dice que afortunados los que hemos conocido a Miti, tanto de aprender de él. People who are lucky that know him. Walter, por ahí Carola también, por ahí vi que Jorge estaba conectado, Jorgito, Solano, George, Carito, Carol Carlito Carola, estaba conectada también Miti ahí, por ahí estaba escuchando. Están todas.
I think the best thing I think that we can get out there, Miti, is if we can get more people to realize how amazing the rivers are down in Costa Rica. I don't think the word's still out yet. I mean, you started back in 1989, obviously, but there's really some just amazing rivers that need to be experienced by people. I can't wait until, when the coronavirus kind of when things open up again. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Costa Rica to really show the world how to do tourism right. And hopefully there's not going to be any new dams, and hopefully someday the rivers that they blocked off and ruined can be able to recover and heal down there as well. Hopefully Costa Rica will see the importance of tourism that it can bring too. So anyway, Arnaldo, anything else you want to add?
Well, if Joaquin can answer this to me, if I say kayak in a few words, what means for you?
Oh, that's my life. That's my work. That's my heart. I love to kayak. I love the river kayaking. And one of my holidays is to go out with a bunch of kayakers, only for fun. We work in the river, you run the river, we take customers. When we do it by ourselves, taking us by yourself, just guide like we always do. We do it once or twice a year. Join all together and go on the river for 1 or 2 days. That we always do this, and it's one of the activities that I really love to do. Go kayaking with the friends and spend the day on the river, enjoying the paddling. I love to kayak.
Yeah.
Well, Miti, when I come down again, I want to go paddling with you. You need to come with us on one of our next trips. So
we'll make it work.
Great. Yeah.
Aquí está Daniel Guevara, está Pinky, Miti, dice Pinky que está desde Carolina del Norte, Carolina del Sur, South Carolina, Daniel Guevara, y manda saludos, Paloma, Johnny, también ahí.
Qué buena vibra.
Tell me about the river you like most to paddle, and also the best rapid you ever run, or the one that you like.
Wow, that's a very good question, because sometimes the biggest rapid is probably not the mountain we like, because we get trouble sometimes. But I like, let's say, Lower Huacas is a rapid, and I like it a lot. I really like it. It always make me think to do it correctly, to run it. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult. It's not too big. But on the commercial section of the Pacuare River, we're always thinking and pass this part of the river with good line. And then I like a lot Lower Huacas. And then the Pacuare River is very scenic, very beautiful. And in every place that you look to, you see this forest and this scenery place, and it's amazing. I love the Pacuare. Mm-hmm.
Otra por ahí, perdón, ¿usted tiene una por ahí?
Yeah, I think something there is a trip that Miti organized every year. I don't know this year if will happen, but I know next year for sure. And what put you in what take you to organize this trip? I think there is something very special behind, that I was able to enjoy last trip. But what make you, to go for it, to organize this trip? Like we run the whole Savegre River, part of it, the upper and the lower. What encouraged you to organize this trip?
Yes, it's the love for the river. Yes, the love for the sport of kayaking. You know, I just was looking at the pictures of that day, exactly that day. We put on the, we call it Division River, and we camp out by the river. It's amazing to share the time with all you guys, you know, share histories, share tales, and then run the river, the two rivers, the Caballero River and the Division, and spend one night over there. It's because it's the love for the adventure, the love for the kayaking. And then I remember that day we have about 24 kayakers or so, and then two paddle raft, and then two oarboards, and then it was amazing. These type of trips, just guys having fun, guiding themselves, you know, and then playing free is the expression of the kayaking sport. That's my attraction. The love of the kayaking, the love of the river, the love of the nature. Yes.
Nice.
Thanks for thanks for sharing and coming on this trip, you guys.
Yeah. I really enjoyed last time.
It was really nice.
Yeah, I think if you guys that are connected don't know Miti much, but he is still charging class 5 water and with good technique, you know, charging out there, and it's really nice to see him always coming after a rapid with a huge smile in his face, and that, you know, make you feel that it's something else than just going down a rapid, you know. It's about the vibe that you can share with your friends and having a good time going down the river.
Yes, that was really good. I remember you saving myself in this class 5 of Chiripo last year. Really good. Chiripo. Atlantic was big for me, but I still cannot run it one more time. And I did it with you last year, and I enjoyed it a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With some good rapids over there. Well, and I get to run the Avalancha and a Cortina, and then some more. And a really nice rapids with good names. Yeah.
Bueno, Miti, aquí está Kat Cantrell, lo está saludando, y también Melquisedec Vega Pérez, from Brazil. Hi, from Brazil. Está conectado por ahí.
Melqui, el venezolano.
También.
Venezuelan boy.
Ah, es kayakero, sí. Está entrenando para las Olimpiadas. Eso es muy bueno. Qué bien. We all love to kayak. We all love to do it. We hope this pandemic goes away, and then we start taking people on the river and having the job that we love to do, and run the river most time, a lot of time, do it one more time.
Well,
Yes.
Miti, Walter, and Arnaldo, we should for sure do this again. I think let's go ahead and wrap up. We'll, I think, keeping them about an hour so people can see, but I think we ought to do another one where we share some of the fun stories from some of the trips. This has been fun, so I think people enjoy doing this and hearing about some of the rivers. We should for sure highlight some of these.
Sí, Miti. There we are now. I mean, we need more than one more hour to do it, right, Miti? Anytime I remember that trip we went together. I mean, we never stopped talking and then sharing and then having fun. It's a great person for that, you know. A lot of experience, so a lot of things to say. Huh?
Well, I think we for sure do this again. Since half of us can't go out and sit around, we can't be on a vacation with you guys right now down in Costa Rica, so it kind of fills a small hole in our heart, I think, for all of us that would love to be down there on the river with you guys. So
sooner than later.
Sooner than later. And do we have any update, Arnaldo or Walter? Do we have any update on when they think they may open the border up to allow Americans in?
Well, the tourism board just sent a letter in high expectation to be July. So let's see, fingers crossed, and then see what happens.
Okay, fingers crossed. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate all of your time, and let's for sure do this again. So, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love to